Welcome, students. Today is Monday, January 4th. I hope everybody had a really good holiday break. Before we start our math lesson, I want everybody to make sure to complete the retrieval practice document. And to get there, you will be clicking on the retrieval practice link right here. So you click on the link and you're going to complete this document. Of course, you put in your name, your first and your last name. Indicate who your teacher is by clicking on the correct bubble. Which meal did you enjoy the most during the break? Just choose the best answer. 33 students in Miss Robertson's class are going to the zoo. Each car holds 5 students. How many cars are needed to take the class to the zoo? So using your notebook, please solve this problem and choose the correct answer. James receives $17 a week for mowing grass. How much money would James earn in 4 weeks? Same thing, solve it in your notebook and then choose the correct answer. What do you look forward to the most in 2021? Choose the correct answer. And when you finish, make sure to submit your answer. Okay, so back to the lesson for today. Once you finish the retrieval practice, you're going to come back to the slideshow. And on our next slide, I've just included the multiplication table here for you as a reference for you to be able to use if you need it throughout today's lesson. Next slide. This is a slide for you to be able to insert your work. So if you're doing your work, some of the problems you're going to have an opportunity to do on the Jamboard. But if you're doing it in the notebook, then you're going to take a picture of your work and include a picture of your work right here. And the next slide is going to be for the same thing, inserting a picture of your work. Today's lesson is more mixed two-step problem solving. Our learning target, I can accurately solve two-step word problems involving mixed operations. And our essential question for this unit remains the same. Why is it important to approach problems using a variety of strategies? And on our next slide, this is a Jamboard activity and team solo problems. And I'm going to bring up in just a second the correct Jamboard that you should be working on. All right, so we've got 4 problems on this Jamboard. The first one, problem 1, Abigail put tulips and roses into vases. Each vase has 12 flowers. The red vase has 7 tulips. The blue vase has twice as many roses as the red vase. How many roses are in the blue vase? And this is a multi-step problem, so you're going to do, they're going to require more than one step for you to solve them. And once you finish with the first, do your cubes on it first. You're circling all the key numbers. You're underlining the question. You're boxing in any key phrases. And I've got a second one. The school office prints a newsletter every month that uses 2 pieces of paper. They make 35 copies for each room. How many pieces of paper do they need to print copies for 10 rooms? Same thing, do your cubes on this one first before you complete it. The third one, Jonah is putting markers in boxes. There are 730 markers and 6 markers fit in each box. Before he began boxing the markers, Eric removed 4 of the markers. How many boxes can Jonah fill? So make sure to complete your cubes on that before you solve it. You can solve it in your notebook first and put your work here, or you can do all of your work here. The fourth one, the 4th grade team had a bake sale. The goal was to raise $920. Cookies cost $2. They sold 328 cookies. How many more cookies do they need to sell to meet their goal? So we're gonna spend some time. I want you to work on those. As you work on those, the Jamboard problems, I've got an online calculator right here that you can use. So it's okay for you to use the online calculator today. And we have previously used it before. So all you need to do is just click on the little calculator right here in the top corner, and it will bring up this calculator that you can use. Or you can use the multiplication table that I showed you earlier in one of the beginning slides. Okay, so we're going to look at problem number 1 together. Abigail put tulips and roses into vases. Each vase has 12 flowers. The red vase has 7 tulips. The blue vase has twice as many roses as the red vase. How many roses are in the blue vase? Okay, so let's keep in mind that I've already done my cubes on here. So I've circled the key numbers. There are 12 flowers, 7 tulips, and I've boxed in the key terms here of twice as many. And I've underlined the question of how many roses are in the blue vase. Now, we've got Abigail put tulips. She put 2 different types of flowers into the vases. She put tulips and she put roses into the vases. So each vase is going to have a certain number of tulips and a certain number of roses. Now, also, each vase has a total of 12 flowers. So any combination that equals 12 is going to make up each vase. And there are 2 vases. There are 2 vases. You have a red one, which I have indicated right here, and there is a blue vase. So there's a red vase and there is a blue vase. These are what we're trying to determine how many are in those. All right, so they both have 12. So that means that the red vase, so each vase has 12. The red vase, which is this one, has 7 tulips. So I've indicated 7 tulips right here. So if there are 12 total flowers in the red vase, just like in the blue one, and we know that it has 7 tulips in it, that means that we need to find the difference between 12 and 7. And whatever the difference is, that means that that one's going to have roses. That's going to be the amount of roses. So we have to subtract 12 total minus the 7 tulips will give us 5 roses. So 5 roses in the red vase. All right, so we got that first part done. Now, the blue vase, which I have indicated right here, has twice as many roses as the red vase. Now, if there were 5 roses in the red vase, we've already determined that we need twice as many. So when you say twice as many multiplicative comparisons, we're going to multiply times 2, or you could do repeated addition. You could say 5 plus 5, but I'm showing multiplication here, 5 times 2. So that gives me a total of 10 roses in the blue vase. And our question was, how many roses are in the blue vase? 10 roses are in the blue vase because we did the multi-step problem here. All right, so for our next slide, we've got more practice. And this is also on a Jamboard. It's also on page 103 in your math binder. So this is on a Jamboard, but it's also on page 103 in your binder. So I'm going to show you the correct Jamboard. Okay, so this is a Jamboard, correct Jamboard that you should be working on. Also page 103, you can solve the problems there and take a picture of your work and insert it. Ms. Turner's 4th grade class is making gift bags for their parent volunteers. They have collected bite-sized candy bars, which they are distributing equally among each bag. Here is a list of the candy. 27 dark chocolate bars, 12 Milky Way bars, 19 Three Musketeer bars, and there's a couple different parts to this. Part 1, how much candy will be in each bag if they have 7 parent volunteers? How much leftover candy will they have? Part 2, the class changes their minds and decides to also make gift bags for their teacher, their principal, and assistant principal. How much candy will be in each bag now? How much leftover candy will they have? Now, there's actually 2 pages of Jamboards here. This is the first part, and you go to the next one. Number 1, at the party, Emily ate 2 donuts. Lucas ate 4 times as many donuts as Emily. How many donuts did they eat altogether? Number 2, Frank ordered 24 cookies from the donut shop. That is 3 times as many cookies as Jenny ordered and 6 times as many cookies as Barb ordered. How many cookies did they order altogether? How many more cookies did Frank order than Jenny and Barb together? So you're going to go back. We're going to take time for you to pause the video and go and work on these problems, remembering to do your cubes on the word problems before you solve them. All right, so we're going to go over the first part of the Jamboard. Miss Turner's fourth grade class is making gift bags for the parent volunteers that have collected bite-sized candy bars, which they are distributing equally among each bag. Here's a list of the candy: 27 dark chocolate bars, 12 Milky Way bars, 19 Three Musketeers bars. And part one, how much candy will be in each bag if they have 7 parent volunteers? How much leftover candy will they have? So this is my answer key here. And you'll see I've already gone through and done my cubes on it. So I have circled all the key numbers in the first part: 27, 12, 19. And I've boxed in the key terms up here, which is going to be distributing equally. So equally means that they're going to be getting the same amount. And I've underlined the questions. There's 2 questions. How much candy will be in each bag if they have 7 parent volunteers? And then the second question, how much leftover candy will they have? All right, so my first step is to determine how much total candy do they have. So I added all the different candies up: 27, 12, 19, 58 pieces of candy. And now we need to distribute those equally among 7 parent volunteers. So that means that I have to divide. So 58 divided by 7. So I ask myself, 7 times what number is equal to or close to 58 without going over? And I determine that 7 times 8 is 56. And then I have to subtract that. So that leaves me with 2. Now, because 2 is smaller than 7, that means that I'm not going to be able to take this problem any further. So 2 is smaller than 7. I'm not going to be able to take the problem any further. So that means that 2 is going to be the remainder now. So that's why I put the R2 up here. So 8 with a remainder of 2. All right, so now I can answer my questions. How much candy will be in each bag if they have 7 parent volunteers? So the first statement answers the first questions. There will be 8 pieces of candy in each bag. And then the second part of the question, how much leftover candy will they have? Remember, leftover is going to be what's remaining. There will be 2 bars of candy left over. Let's go down to part 2. The class changes their mind and decides to also make gift bags for their teacher, their principal, and assistant principal. How much candy will be in each bag now? How much leftover candy will they have? So now we've got the 7 parent volunteers at the top. Now they decide to add more people to it. They're going to distribute candy to their teacher, principal, and the assistant. That's 3 more people. So that means you have to add 3 to that 7, and that makes it 10. 10 people. All right, so we take that same total of candy, so the amount of candy did not change. So 58 pieces of candy. Now I have to divide it. Instead of by 7, I am dividing by 10. So 10 times what number is equal to or close to 58 without going over? 10 times 5 is 50. So 58 minus 50 leaves me with 8. And now I have 5 with a remainder of 8. So now I can answer my questions. How much candy will be in each bag now? There will be 5 candy bars in each bag. How much leftover candy will they have? There will be 8 candy bars left over. So go ahead and compare your work to what I have here. If you need to make any changes to it, please go ahead and do so. Okay, so on our next slide, it's going to be your independent work. This is also going to be on a Jamboard, mixed problem solving practice homework. Now this is also on page 101, also on page 101 in your binder. So you're going to have a choice of solving it in the Jamboard, your work on your Jamboard, or you can work in your book on page 101 and solve these problems. And remember, if you do it inside of your binder on page 101, you have to take a picture of your work and insert it in one of the slides that I showed you earlier at the very beginning of our Google Slides. Insert your picture of your work. Okay. Now this is just part of page 101 that I have copied here. Mixed problem solving practice. It's just more multi-step problems that you have to work on. I want you to get more practice on it. Remember to do your cubes, guys, before you actually start solving the problems. So that's your independent work. Make sure you get that done. And this is our very last slide. In addition to finishing up the independent work for the Jamboard, or if you're doing page 101, and inserting a picture of work, do that. Also, you're going to do 15 minutes of Dreambox and work on Khan Academy for 15 minutes. You're going to work on the division problems that have already been assigned to you by your teacher.